I can't say enough of how this center influenced me and the benefits that my wife got from it. I thought nobody can take care of her like me, and I knew I had to do something for my family. It's in their hearts that they want to provide the care for the people that deserve it here.
In Fairfield County, something new comes across my desk every day. Crimes are committed, cases are solved, and a community is made safe by the hardworking employees of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office.
Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phelan, a weekly program here on LSN Television. We're also carried by a number of our radio affiliates and here in Lancaster. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week, and certainly the nice calls and comments we get about the program. Our executive producer, Kelly Roberts, who does a terrific job lining up guests, getting questions together, and does just so many things behind the scene, and certainly J.T. Burcham and the students here at Fairfield Christian Academy. Without their help, this program would not be possible. We're having back two guests, Darcy Cook and Zoe Lamberson with the Fairfield County Prosecutor's Office, joined us last week to talk about sexting, and we're going to talk about, as we get back to school, something that is out there, cyberbullying. And I'm not so sure a lot of people even know what that is, although it has made a lot of headlines in recent years where you've had people that have been bullied, they've had people commit suicide, just awful things. But let's start by way of definition. What is cyberbullying?
Well, cyberbullying is basically any intentional, written, verbal, physical act that is aggressive or threatening to another person. And, it's the definition of bullying, but when this takes place, through the internet, through online communication, things like, texting, Facebook, Instagram, Kik, Tumblr, there's a
I'm not
wide
so sure I know
variety.
what all those mean,
Yeah, well, the teenagers do.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's a wide variety of these, social media things that when these acts are taking place through those means, that makes it the cyberbullying as opposed to pushing a kid into a locker at school.
But it's the same kind of offense, right? Whether you're doing it through the media, social media, or whether you're doing it in the school where you're following someone and taunting them.
Exactly.
And I guess how prevalent is it?
It's very prevalent. I think it happens much more than we can even imagine. Kids these days at schools, they're allowed to have their cell phones because in case of an emergency. Lancaster High School is gone with iPads, so they are connected to that technology every moment of every day. And a lot of it just happens any minute.
Wow. And so typically, as we see these things in our school, you would almost think today, because there is a lot of education about this, how bad it is on people. You would almost think that it's kind of should be on the decline, but we're not seeing that.
No, we're not. We see people sending harassing messages, people making group chats or blogs or pages where you post anonymously, and I'll explain the air quotes later, but and they can be used to, post Photoshop pictures to make fun of somebody, or mean comments, or, basically hate groups against people. And this is very widespread in our community right now.
And what's the age group? We talked about that with sexting last week, but what is this, a high school, junior high, and what kind of?
I think it's everybody.
Really?
It really is. Anymore, I think you have to be 16 to have a Facebook account, but I know all kinds of kids who are 8 with a Facebook account.
Yes.
And you see the younger kids with their devices as well. So I think it used to be where it used to be high school and middle school, and now it's getting younger and younger as more and more kids get technology so much earlier.
And typically, what is it?
again, is it primarily boys or girls getting bullied, or just a combination? And
I think it's both.
yes,
I don't think there is, one more than the other. It's just maybe the tactics are different. But it is all over the place. And I think one important thing is, since a lot of this stuff, can be posted under usernames or pseudonyms or things like that, people have less, or think that they have less accountability for it. So, just a click of a button and they'll post something mean or harassing against somebody else.
and when I went to school, it was like the big kid that was kind of pushing everybody around, but this is almost like groups of people sometimes, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, they do. They have group chats where they pull somebody in, and then we'll then take it to a private message. It is a group of kids will get together and text somebody over and over and over again, and they do it all together. It really is just...
So this is devastating to these kids, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. So what, I guess, first of all, if I'm an individual, if I'm a student being bullied, what do I need to do? What can be done without making it worse, I guess?
Yeah.
I know that's not an easy question.
Well, just like we talked about during the last show with the sexting, being in touch with the teachers or the school resource officers is a huge step, because they know how to be discreet and bring this to our attention so that we can actually take some action and do something. Trying to handle this on their own is not going to work. Parents trying to get involved and make accounts and trying to fight back that way, that's also not going to work. Like, we need to take this through formal means, and a lot of times this can be brought to our attention, and we can hopefully address it in a way that doesn't put the person who's already been victimized on the spot as a tattletale. We can point it out in some other direction.
And so many times, and I know, Darcy, since you have a teenager, so many times I think parents, when they find out that their child's being abused, taken advantage of, bullied, they want to get involved.
Absolutely.
I mean, they want to go over there to that house, so they want to get this kid, and they want to talk to him, they want to go to school. What's the best way or the better way to handle these kind of things?
It definitely is going to the police or to the school, because they are equipped to handle it properly.
Yeah, so don't get directly involved with this stuff.
Right. We have cases where the parents start out just saying, "Hey, don't say that to my kid," and then they get sucked into conversations where now there's a problem with their behavior, and now we're looking at criminal charges against the parents possibly too if they get sucked in. We've had cases where parents confront other parents and it ends up with an assault. It can run the gamut. So really it is following the proper channels.
And what is the responsibility of a school official when they become aware of this? Do they try to handle it in-house, or is it just depend on the degree?
I think it does depend. They deal with this a lot, so they have a lot of discretion and what they feel needs to be done. But they do work very closely with the juvenile prosecutor in our office, and in addressing these issues. So if they can handle it in the school, they may do so. But they also have our office as a resource. And when I was talking about earlier, the anonymous thing, like we were discussing with the sexting, we have the resources if they don't know who's posting something, to have the computer forensics, to have the analysts track down IP addresses and usernames, and even Snapchat keeps records now, so we can subpoena things, so they can't hide a lot of the times, and that's something that the school, may not be able to. Well, they can't do on their own, so that's how we work together to address these issues.
And even going back to the sexting we talked about last week, I think a lot of people think, I just deleted on my phone, nobody's going to know about it, it's gone forever. That's not the case, is it?
No, and I've had multiple conversations with other people and saying, I understand you were doing this in FaceTime, but the other person took a screenshot, and so let me show you what I have. Or you just never know when somebody's going to take a screenshot, somebody's going to save a picture, somebody's going to do something where it is out of your control. As soon as you send it, you no longer have control of that image.
Right. So what does an individual face? What kind of charges would a person face that is involved in this bullying?
Well, cyberbullying does not currently have a specific criminal statute, but there are many related offenses that, depending on the situation, we are able to charge. That includes things like menacing, aggravated menacing, menacing by stalking, disorderly conduct, telecommunications harassment. We've also had a lot of issues involving the offense of inducing panic, which is a felony charge also, and these kind of run the gamut of level of offense. But I think Darcy, there's some recent issues we've been having with the inducing panic and bullying.
So how would that? What would be an example of inducing panic as it relates to bullying?
So a lot of times it's, I'm going to come and find you at school. I'm gonna get you once you're at school. I'm going to bring a gun to school. I'm going to shoot you at school. I'm going to shoot other people. So at that point, the school has to take precautions to make sure that we don't have a school shooting or any kind of school violence.
And without mentioning school districts, is there a difference even within the school districts, or is it just kind of across the board?
I think it's across the board.
Yeah, I would have thought. I wouldn't think it would be unique to any particular school district.
No, it really. We've had them at all the area schools.
Have you? And I know nationally, because it is when it happens, it becomes a big news story. Have we had anything as far as any juveniles trying to hurt themselves as a result of being bullying that we're aware of in our county?
I think there have been some where we think it contributed.
Yeah.
Whether it was successful or attempts, I think it happens much more than we think it does. We definitely have kids who are struggling with depression and with just the social stress of the cyberbullying with the kids.
And I know it's hard, because I knew a lady, and she's an adult now, but she really can even remember, and this is before we had cyberbullying or anything, but she really can remember at one time she had a number of her friends at school and they kind of got mad at her, and even to this day she can still kind of think about that, and it kind of bothers her that she had all these kids that she'd lost some of her friends and they were kind of coming out against her. So I can just imagine how devastating this would be to have numerous people. And nobody likes that, even as adults, but I think as a juvenile we're even less we have our ability to deal with those things becomes very problematic.
Absolutely.
So we've got just a little bit of time left. Let's talk about, first of all, again, if someone's involved in this activity, we're going to prosecute, right? Probably, if we find out they're doing it, and it's goes beyond just something in the hallway. It's minor, right?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And we see these cases all the time, every year?
All the time.
All the time, huh?
Even school has barely started, and I'm sure we already have some.
Oh, wow.
Some of this going on.
Wow. Okay. Well, hey, we're just about out of time. Appreciate you spending a couple programs with us. The information has been invaluable. If someone has a bullying issue, report it to their school, report it to law enforcement, and then you'll work with them. You work closely with the sheriff's office and the police department.
Yes. Exactly, yes.
Darcy Cook, Zoe Lamberson, do appreciate you being with us the last couple weeks. Great shows. And certainly you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week, I'm appreciative of your viewing of this program and listening to the program. JT Burcham, Kelly Roberts, our executive producer, will be here next week. If you're driving, buckle up, be careful, God bless, and we'll see you right here next week.
I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan, big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man. Well, have a good one. You're a nice lady.